Hey, 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 it's Kari. I'm Kari with Kari Caldwell Studios, and I'm going to invite you into Hometalk TV's Live. We're going to stencil on an outdoor patio wall today. It's a really good time to think about where you might want to use a stencil. As a matter of fact, where have you used a stencil? Put in the comments below, where have you used a stencil, and you have an opportunity to win a free tote from Hometalk Live. And so it's springtime. It's kind of the time to think outside. And so I'm going to stencil a little wall at my house. And I don't have a homeowners association. And so I get to do whatever I want in my yard. But where could you use this? You could use this in your backyard if you do have a homeowners association. And it's a really good backdrop for maybe putting a fountain. If you have a little blank wall and you have a fountain, it just needs a little something, something. You could put a stencil there, you could stencil your concrete, you could stencil your furniture, all kinds of places. So you guys ready to get stenciling today? If you're just joining in, I'm from San Diego. I'm in sunny San Diego today, and I want to know where you're calling from or where you're viewing from. So put in the comments where you're viewing from and where have you used a stencil, and to win a free tote, and give me some hearts and love, and let's go for it, all right? You guys ready? So anyway, if you're just joining, we're stenciling an outdoor patio wall. So I'm going to show you some of my supplies that I got going on over here. They're pretty basic and common and easy. So first of all, I have my paint that is my house color, just in case I make a mistake. So I have that. I have the color of my choice that I'm going to be stenciling with, and I'm just using anti-Sloan chalk paint. It goes outside perfectly well. It's super cool. So that's what my choice is. I have some tape to hold on my stencil. I also have a roller with a foam dense roller so that I can apply my stencil. And then, being a decorative painter for 23 years, I have my own little ways of that I like to do things. This is newsprint. It's actually, packing paper. But it's my favorite way to offload, which I'll tell you how to offload. And I put it on an old cookie sheet. You can get a cookie sheet from the thrift store, you guys, and look at mine has been used. But I love it. To me, it's art. So that's how I'm going to do mine. And then I also have a stencil. And if this is from Royal Design Studio, and we're gifting today, well, I think to the end of the month, 10% off Hometalk. All uppercase, Hometalk 10. If you go to Royal Design and order a stencil, you can get 10% off. Kind of worth it. So we're going to use, it's called a Fez blanket. And I just picked this because it's Moroccan inspired, and that's what calls to me. And as a matter of fact, I even sprinkled some rose petals on the floor for you guys, because in Morocco you get lots of flowers. And so it was just my little homage to this whole jam that we're doing today. So tell me, where are you guys viewing from? You viewing from all over the world? Who's out there right now? Anybody?
I can't really see the comments.
So anyway, I guess we're having just a pinch of technology difficulty here. We can't see comments, so I'm just going to move forward, and we'll get this all sorted out. And we're going to move forward. So anyway, I have my little stencil here. And what the stencil is, see at the bottom down here, I have some writing. We're just trying to figure out a few things, guys. This is real life. And if we can't deal with real life, then it's no fun, right?
Our Wi-Fi should be okay.
If we need to do a reconnection, we're right next to our Wi-Fi. Should I keep going? Okay, so listen, right here is the center of my wall. And I'm going to put my stencil, I'm going to line up my stencil with the center of my wall, and that's the center of my stencil. I'm going to show you something up close because you won't really be able to see it. But there's these perforated little marks in the stencil, and that's going to get me what we call our registration marks. So I know where to line it up again. I just search for those. And I always want the writing to be facing me and down at the bottom, because that's the way it's going to be. So what you want to do, if you're doing this at your house, you can do it indoor, outdoor. It doesn't have to be indoor, outdoor. We're doing it outdoor because I feel like it's spring and it's kind of fun to do it outdoor. you would want to find the center of your wall and start in the center of your wall and work left and work right, okay? And then that way you kind of have everything even out, even at each end. So we're going to start by putting our stencil up with the lettering facing out, and I'm going to line it up. Just this is my center, so I'm just going to, you know, it's already there for me. I don't even have to think about it. And since I can't tape at the top, I'm going to have to come down. Okay, so we're on. And this is a bumpy surface, so we're going to not overpaint it, okay? So we're just going to kind of be a little calm with our painting. And so I'm going to get my cookie tray, and then I'm going to get my foam dense roller. Oh, and guess what, you guys? You can stencil on your jeans, too. You can stencil on anything you want to. Leave me a comment of where you have used stenciling before to win a free tote. You can even stencil on your tote. Alright, so I've got my paint choice. I'm going to just go ahead and do a black because I like it because my window's black. So I have a pretty funky piece of property. It actually used to house greenhouses, and this was a flower cutting room. It's a long story. You'll have to get to know me sometime. And so this is like kind of a weird, the slider used to be here, and I found that window at the salvage hunt, and so I put it in, and I love it. So now I'm just going to do this kind of, this is a blanket inspired stencil from a Fez blanket, and so I thought it'd be really pretty to just kind of have that out here. And I'm going to do mine hopefully sort of faded, and I can always sand it back too to make it more faded, or add my house paint to bury it a little. But I chose that because I thought it would look really cool with a bench here. So I'm just going to pour out a little bit of paint. I don't need much right now because I'm not looking to really over paint my project. And then I'm just going to load up my roller. And I guess we can't view the comments, so I can't really hear what's going on out there live. So sorry guys, we're not quite sure what's going on with technology right now, but I don't even know if I can see any hearts or know where you're calling from or viewing from or anything like that. So, you know, I apologize, but we're going to just keep going anyway.
Someone's doing their laundry room.
Oh, yay! All right, we got some comments. Okay, so now I have my weenie roller, and I've offloaded it on my cookie sheet and my newsprint. And the reason why I like newsprints, it's very absorbive. So anyway, I'm just going to...
Someone is also doing a brick fireplace.
Oh, cool. So I'm going to come in here and do mine. Like I said, I want mine kind of faded and like it's an old blanket that's hanging outside. So right now I'm not going to do it super heavy because this is my design decision. Now these are decisions that you can make for yourself. I mean, I could technically come in here and do other colors, you know, with it. I don't want to get too complicated, but I'm just going to do mine really soft. And then I'm gonna peek, and voila! Look at it, such instant gratification. And then remember those little perforated marks. I can line them up with my design, and then I know. So there's a little perforated mark right there, and a little perforated mark right there. So now I can see how to line my stencil up. So I got that, and then I'm just gonna keep going. Usually I like to just work down.
Oh, and Megan wants some wedding ideas with this.
Some wedding ideas? Well, as a matter of fact, Megan, somebody else asked me for wedding ideas like this.
Could you stencil with
Megan,
a wedding?
Yeah, you could stencil for a wedding, Megan. I was thinking maybe a backdrop for photo op could be fun. You could stencil tabletops. You could stencil placemats. What else could she stencil? You know what, you guys? I'm going to tell you something, too. You can take a stencil, and if you are a baker, you can lay the stencil on your cake and sprinkle, like, say you have a chocolate cake, or I don't know what it is. I'm just doing chocolate for easy. And then you could sprinkle powdered sugar on it, and then lift the stencil off and you get a design. That'd be a cool one. You could stencil your desserts. So, okay, so now my perforated mark is right here. So I'm going to lighten up with that square. And then I know that I'm continuing on my, see, it's on camera it may not read, but in real life you can find it. Real life, like we're in fake life. All right, but I'm just going to keep moving my stencil along and see how I like mine faded. And I'm not pushing really, really hard with my roller because I don't want the paint to smash under my stencil because I do have a pretty textured surface here. So anyway, so that's cool, a wedding. And then somebody's stenciling their fireplace and their laundry room. And what else? You know, you can do this on your concrete patios too. I say if you don't like something, why not just stencil or paint it and, you know, maybe you'll like it better. So to me, I just wanted to add some character to this long wall because like I said, I have a unique, interesting property where I'm almost like a bowling alley. I have a long, long hallway. So I'm not pushing very hard at all, you guys, and you can make your stencil really dark if you want to like that, but that's not the look I'm going for, but if I don't mind it having it.
Maria is stenciling a trailer or something?
Oh, do you have a cute
craft trailer?
Oh my gosh, how fun! I love craft trailers. I love craft closets. I love anywhere that you can house all your crafts. All right, so I'm lining up my...
And then Tiffany says this would be a really cool headboard.
Oh my gosh.
Like an actual headboard.
Yeah, it totally would. And you know, you guys, you can invent the headboard just out of plywood or just on the wall and not even really have a headboard. It can just be the headboard.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Good idea, Tiffany. That's cool.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Tiffany. So you're just going to follow along and just keep stenciling. And this is just a 12 by 12 pattern. The stencils come so many different sizes, so many different patterns. I don't know if you all know Royal Design, but they definitely have a ton of choices. So like I said, I just decided to do mine very faded because that's the way, that's the look that I like. So you can choose. Sometimes I might not even get the design at all. You know what I mean? But that's what makes it look old and vintage and interesting. So, so you just want to keep finding your little perforations. And there's these little squares. Once you get to know where they are, you can kind of just do it by eye. And when you do it faded, it doesn't necessarily matter if you get a little wonky somewhere, you know what I mean? But the hardest places to stencil, I think, are bathrooms, like around toilets and sinks and corners. That's the challenging one that you might not want to do on your first go about. You know, some of this other stuff is so much easier. You guys, you can stencil trays. So is anybody else commenting where they've used a stencil so you can win a free tote?
Ooh, Teresa says that she's going to stencil her plain cement patio.
Yay!
This would be pretty.
It will be pretty. I just think that it's springtime. I like to be outside. And you guys, guess what? This is only paint. Therefore, if you get tired of it, you can just paint over it. You know what I mean? You don't have to own it for your entire life. Like if I decide I don't like this on here, I just get my house paint again and paint out. I'm not going for a very far distance. It's just that there was a big repair here, so it's a little bit smoother, so I chose to do this. If you look at the texture over there, it's really crazy texture. And
Debbie wants to know if it's hard to stencil in jeans.
oh well,
on jeans.
Oh no, not at all, not at all. Look at you guys. I was just I just had it, and I had some pink, and I had this stencil, and I just slapped it on there, and then I dragged my finger, and it dragged out. Don't mind me, I like my ripped up stencils. It's not, you can even stencil your tennis shoes. You can stencil your tennis shoes. You can stencil your jeans. You can stencil your t-shirts. You can stencil anything you want.
Pillow?
Like a pillow. You can stencil your pillows. So don't be shy. Stenciling is not just for walls. It's for anything you want it to be. You just kind of choose the right paints.
Patty wants to know, How do you load the brush so it doesn't get really dark? Like,
Okay,
how does it get
So,
fadey?
so what I'm doing, what's your name, Patty?
Patty.
Okay, so first of all, Patty, my biggest recommendation is not to overload your tray with a ton of paint, okay? Because that's first. And then, because I barely have any paint in here. And then I'm not pushing very hard. So I'm really like featherweight on my hand. And so then that way I get that faded look, which to me is so much nicer than, I'm going to go up here so I can see a little better. You guys, I'm getting old eyes. Old eyes. Okay, so I'm going to show you again. So I barely, and that's why what we do, what's called an offload too, Patty. So I have my paper. You can use a paper towel, but I use newsprint. And I like it because it's really absorbent. I can fold it up in a bunch of squares. And so when I load my brush, I always come here in what we call offload. So I already get the paint off of here. So then when I come to my surface, and I'm not pushing that hard, I barely have any paint. And you don't need that much paint because now it looks really complicated, like it's really old and not too fresh. And that's what I like because it just reads better, you know what I mean? It's fun. But those are design decisions, you know, it's not just about, you know, it's what I like. Like you might think some people might think that looks sloppy, but I love it. I like it better if you were pushing, like right here, if you see right there, which I'll leave that, it's no big deal. That's from pushing, it seeps under the stencil a little bit, so I got a little bleed. But I can always fade that out with some sandpaper or something. But just a few of those here and there is no problem. So, anyway, that's what we got going on.
Cindy said she has stenciled her back screen door so birds would stop hitting it.
Oh, that's sweet. Because the birds, we don't want the birds smashing. I mean, I have birds. I'm pretty much an indoor-outdoor girl, and I have birds. They come into my house too and slam into things, and I feel so bad for them. So that's a good idea, Cindy.
Yeah, use a stencil to help the birds.
Yeah, that's very humane. So, and then if you make a mistake, you guys, like I just did right here, and I'm just going to get real with you. I just made a mistake right here because I was talking and I didn't get my stencil close enough. But I'll just come back in and do that. At the end of the day, you're not going to read that, but that's why I have my house paint here. If it's really bothering me, I'll just paint that guy out. But I don't think it's going to do that. I don't think it's going to bother me. And so I'm just going to keep going for it. You know what I mean? I think we get a little bit too much into perfectionism. And yeah.
People love it. Send some hearts.
Send some hearts. Are you guys loving it?
Love it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. What do you think of this pattern? I kind of like it because each design goes a different way, you know, and it's just mix match. I don't know, something just is attractive about this design to me too. So, and once again, this is from Royal Design. Just in case you love this one too, it's from Royal Design, and it's called the Fez Blanket Stencil 3070. And you do get, if you do Hometalk all uppercase 10, Hometalk 10, you get 10% off from Royal Design. That's pretty generous, you guys. I think that's kind of fun that they did that for us. And so I'm kind of stoked for you guys because it's just fun to get a little discount on anything. So that's cool. All right, so what else? What other questions do you guys have for me? We were digging it. Where else would you do it? Would you be open to doing it to your outdoor patio wall? Is that something anybody out there would do? Okay, so here we come to a lower part. So now I have this lip because this is where the slider was for the old greenhouse. Like I said, you'd have to listen to my story a little bit longer. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to put this guy here. And I'm not going to do anything with the bottom. And then I'm just going to loosely kind of push him against the wall. And because I'm doing more of a distress pattern, I can just come in here. And if I lift this up, you don't want to damage your stencil and break it before you finish. You can just kind of push in there.
Kimberly said when she lived in Japan, everything was concrete, so she just stenciled everything.
Sounds like my kind of world. That sounds fun. I like that.
And Sharon is inspired to stencil her garden shed.
See?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Now, Johnny, if you want to just flip the camera around and show them my graffiti garden shed.
We have a crazy garden shed too. But
so we're into it.
we got an artist to do that.
Yeah. So there. So see, now that's how you do that little lower bit, okay? So it's really not that hard, you know, when you come to a little edge that you can't do. So I'm just going to keep on going and get myself all square here. And it's probably best, you know, to be not talking while you're doing. I mean, you can talk, but you got to line yourself up. And then if your paint starts to get there, what I usually do is take a little scrubby, but I also have an outdoor sink, so I get a messy sink. I take a little scrubby and I can scrub off, you know, where, so now I can barely even see my little registrations marks anymore, you guys.
It's all covered.
It's all covered with paint. So those are some of the things that you just kind of have to suck it up, Buttercup. No. And just kind of go with it. As long as we're staying straight, life is good, you know? And,
people love the wind chimes.
oh, thank you. Those are the Santa Barbara wind chimes. And I was going to make a comment on them, but they are very soothing. So thank you for loving on my wind chimes. The Santa Barbaras always have a really good sound because they make them where there's a note to them, you know. So that's pretty cool. But I thought this would be a fun project because, you know, in San Diego we have really good weather right now and it's springtime and, you know, enough of being in the house, so I thought maybe y'all could jump outside and find somewhere to stencil. So I thought that would be kind of cool.
Or inside, you could do it inside.
You can do it inside. You can do it inside. You can do it on trays. You can, you know. So once again, we're just coming down to this lower bit, and it's not that hard to. You just want to keep this flapping, okay? So you don't want it tight, like, you know, so you can just let it bend on its own. It's a little pliable. So has everybody out there stenciled something? It's kind of sounding like it. Everybody has. Who's never stenciled anything? Somebody give me a comment who's never stenciled. Woohoo! Look at that. So another thing, you guys, I could start just sort of do it where it starts to get broken, like, I don't know, maybe I don't even have to do it all. You know, you can get really creative because to me it's going to be kind of like this interesting backdrop. So maybe, I don't know, I always start getting
There's
really...
about 5 people who have never stenciled before.
Oh, 5 of you? Are you going to do it? Am I inspiring you to do it? That's crazy. 5 people have never stenciled before. Well, hello. I can't even see. This is what there's a little.
Bren says he hopes to do it soon.
Okay, cool. What would you do? What would your first project be? Do you know?
A wall. It's just kidding.
Okay, so there's my little flower.
And then Tiffany with the headboard comment.
Yep.
Said she's never done it, but she wants to do it now.
Okay, do it, girl, because it's really not that hard. And you could do it on your wall. You could do it as the headboard. I just think it makes a really cool backdrop because once I put a bench in front of here or a planted pot, or even a little chair and table.
Megan's gonna start with coasters.
Okay, that sounds
could
cool.
be cute.
Yeah, totally cute.
And Christina wants to do it on flower pots, so.
Oh, that'll be
ideas.
perfect. Yep, flower pots are good. Okay, I'm just looking for my little registration marks. They're a little tricky now that I've gotten paint all over it. So there's also something that you can get from Home Depot. It's called, I don't have the bottle with me, so you're just going to have to remember or write it down. It's called Lift Off number 7, and it takes latex paints or pretty much any kind of paint off of the stencil. And what I do is I spray this I leave it on a flat surface. I have an outdoor sink because I'm lucky. And then I scrub it flat with a green scrubby. But I have to be very careful not to damage all of the stuff. So If you're going on a big wall, you might want to buy 2 stencils, or you might have to take a little break and wash your stencil very gently.
Heather wants to know, at what point do you clean the stencil, how you do it, like,
yeah, that's
how far do we go?
Well, that's what I was kind of just going over, like, because I've been doing this for 23 years, you guys, I just keep going for it. But you could stop at any point depending on how much, you know, there was a little trick that I usually do too, and I didn't do it today, and I should have done it for y'all. But remember I was showing, well, I don't know, if you just joined in, you may need to go back and watch this. I come in with a Sharpie, and I do a Sharpie around those perforated points, so then they stay there all the time, but working with black, but you could do it red or anything, and then I would Sharpie that in, and then that way I could see it. But, you know, I'm kind of getting to the point where I could clean it, and actually, if we wanted to walk over to my little sink here, you guys, it's a little messy, but I'm going to show you the real me. And I don't have a scrubby, but I do have some, I would just spray it and just hold on, just wait here, Najoni. This is in a bottle, but it's crud cutter. Stay there. And then right now is what I have closest to me is a rag. So I want to just, look at the crud cutter just takes it right off. Okay, and then you always want to flip it over and get all the little gooeys off the back too. But you got to be gentle, you guys, because you break your little edges. This isn't a really delicate stencil, meaning a really lacy, so there's not a lot of stuff in there. There's not a lot of, and I put my paper down there sometimes too.
And someone wants to know any suggestions for a shabby chic stencil. What do you?
Oh well.
What would you do for that?
What would I do for shabby chic? Well, I don't know. I guess kind of roses are always shabby chic, right? Damask is shabby chic. There's really beautiful damask stencils out there. Okay, so see now, right now, I'm not getting a lot of buildup, but I just can find my registration marks again. And this is crud cutter, which is just as good as lift-off number 7, but I like the lift-off better. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do a couple more for y'all. But you could do this halfway during your project, 1/4. You could clean your stencil every quarter portion of your project. But I'm doing it gently, and you do need a hard surface. So like if you see big trays at the thrift store, like culinary ones, you could always clean your stencils on that.
And where do you get your stencils?
Okay, so I got this one from RoyalDesignStencils.com, and they're giving away 10% off for anybody who orders, and it's all caps Hometalk 10. But I get it from Royal Design.
That's the code, Hometalk 10.
Hometalk 10 is your code if you want to order and get 10% off. Okay, so you always have to clean the back of your stencil too, you guys, okay? And I'm gently doing that. So that's just a rough idea of how we clean our stencils. And now I can line it up much easier because I can see. Okay? So now I can see right through it again. So if you weren't listening before or didn't hear me, what I might do if I was a beginning stenciler, I would come in and take a Sharpie and follow those little registration marks so that they didn't go away. And if I was using black paint, maybe I would do that in red. But generally I use black because I don't always stencil in black. I use a black Sharpie, but you can use whatever color Sharpie you have. So that's how you clean. And what else is going out there? Where are you guys viewing from? I haven't even heard any countries or states or what's going on out there. You sending me any love? So that's how I like to stencil.
Brianna from New York. Hello.
I'm supposed to go to
Lauren
New York in July.
from Salt Lake City.
Oh, we got Utah.
Louisiana, Georgia, Oklahoma. Yay.
All right, you guys.
The whole South is here. Yeah. Oh, someone from India. Hello.
Oh, we have lots of beautiful patterns in India. There's tons of stenciling. All right, so any other questions? And remember, somebody's going to win a tote if you put in the comments where you've used a stencil. And you guys, if you're loving this, share this tutorial with one of your friends on your page. Let's give some love to Hometalk. Let's give some love to Kari Caldwell Studios. That's me. And share away and subscribe at the end of this tutorial too, so you can not miss one more Hometalk Live. The next one will be Sunday at 7 p.m. So make sure you tune in. And, you know, if you wanted to even come back and put a comment on where you stenciled, that would be pretty cool too.
Dory did a kitchen backsplash with a stencil.
Oh, I do that all the time, Dory. I think that's a brilliant place to do it. And you guys, if you have tile that you're not in love with, don't be afraid to stencil over it, okay? You can still stencil over your tile, especially that dry noche. So don't be shy on doing that either. So we'll do a few more here because I think you guys are getting the point. Does anybody have any other technical questions about stenciling? You need to know anything about stenciling? And I'm down here on the ground stenciling for you guys. Remember, you can do your jeans, you can do your tennies. You offload. You can do it with a brush.
Someone wants to know, does the blue tape affect the stencil when you're moving it around and stuff? Like, does it?
Sometimes, okay, so like right here where it's super wet, your blue tape is not going to stick to it. And if I was going for like this super perfect look, the blue tape could disturb it. So I would move it. So yes, it's a very good question, and you do have to be mindful of it. As a matter of fact, you have to have your more blue tape around because this can get pretty dirty and it won't stick anymore. And then sometimes you forget, why is my stencil not staying up? It's because the blue tape is no more adhesive on there. I still like to use the blue. It's not going to pull off a lot because I'm doing a distress stencil. It's okay for this application, but yes, you do need to be mindful. And so you just might need to move your tape if you're a heavy stenciler like that. That's really wet. So that was a good question. Any other ones out there? So give me some technical questions because I'm just going to do a few more for you.
If someone wanted to do a black splash, would they seal it?
I probably would, and I don't know what your material is because if you're a good Italian or spaghetti maker, I don't know, you might be flicking that stuff back there. And what you would seal it with would probably just be a matte polyurethane. And, you know, that's a whole nother topic. But, yeah, I would probably give it a seal. All right, what up? Give me some more of those kind of fun questions.
April wants to know what kind of paint you're using.
April, today for our stenciling, we are just using the Annie Salone chalk paint. It's outdoor rated. I happen to like this black because it's not a heavy black. It can get wet out here. Nothing's going to happen to it. But you can stencil with latex paint, exterior latex paint. You can stencil with just about any kind of paint you want. And that's not really, I just made the decision to stencil with chalk paint for mostly color and aesthetics, and I happen to use it quite often. So it's always in my...
Not your window.
And yeah, my trim in the house is black, so I wanted to kind of keep it simple. I always think that you can do black and white and add pops of color. Like, you guys, for those who are just tuning in, I did do rose petals. Look at how beautiful the pink looks. Isn't that pretty? And my neighbor has roses, and the ones that are pretty much dead, I always go and pick them and throw them around my yard because, I don't know, I'm just kind of like that. But look at, you know, you put a pop of color here, some pink geraniums or something. This wall's going to look fantastic. Okay, what else you guys got for me? Anybody got any more technical questions, or do you want to know anything? Because we're going to tune in. Somebody's going to be a winner. Have they announced the winner yet? Who's our winner?
Congrats, Cindy Bishop. She's
Cindy?
the one with the birds.
Oh.
Saving the birds with the stencil.
Oh, we love you, Cindy.
Yay.
That's so cool.
Congratulations.
You win a tote bag from Hometalk. Super cool. Hometalk will get in touch with you, so don't worry. They know who the winner is. They got your girl. You don't even have to do anything. They'll just reach out to you, and you'll get your tote bag. And you can even stencil it.
And then one more time where you got the stencil, because a lot of people are asking.
Okay, one more time. I got my stencil from Royal Design Studios, and this happens to be the Fez Blanket Stencil, and they are offering 10% off, you guys. Hometalk 10, all uppercase.
That's the code.
That's the code you put in at checkout to get 10% off of any stencil or your order. So I would go ahead and do that and pick some good stencils. And, you know, if you're enjoying this, lots of hearts, share it with your friends, subscribe to Hometalk TV Live, tune in again Sunday at 7 p.m., and you can always come over and hang out with me at Kari Caldwell Studios on my Facebook page. All right, guys, we're going to split, and I hope you like that tutorial, and leave comments and tell Hometalk, yay, we love Kari! Peace out.
Bye, guys.